In this session, we will focus on commercial pickup of solid waste, container pickup involving front-end loading and roll-offs. We will address the hazards you can expect to encounter and best practices to avoid and prevent accidents while on the job. Driving in the cities and suburbs presents many increased risks. There are more pedestrians than you'd encounter elsewhere, more walkers, joggers, and cyclists. Children in neighborhoods at play may dart out into the street at any moment. Streets may be narrow, traffic congested, and more starts and stops involved. So please stay alert, slow down, and drive defensively. Drivers are responsible for the safe and effective operation of the vehicle. From the pre-trip inspection before beginning your route, the vehicle operation throughout the day, to the post-trip inspection and route sheets to be turned in at the end of your shift. Drivers must be authorized and properly licensed to operate these vehicles and are expected to report hazards, from mechanical issues with trucks needing repair to physical issues along their route, which may need to be reported to public authorities to be addressed and/or corrected. After a complete pre-trip inspection is performed, you should ensure all necessary PPE is on board and/or being worn by you and any helpers you may have. Getting in and out of the truck seems simple enough, but believe it or not, this is how many injuries occur. To prevent these, always maintain 3 points of contact when climbing into or out of your truck. This means 2 hands and 1 foot, or 2 feet and 1 hand. And of course, never jump from your truck to the ground. Always wear your seatbelt every day at all times, no exceptions. Nothing is more important than driving safely through cities and to job sites. Obey all traffic laws. Be constantly alert to pedestrians and children. Drive slow and defensively. Avoid backing when possible, and do so only when safe. Maintain all safety devices and use lights and strobes during hours of darkness. Avoid confrontations with other motorists. Do not become a victim or participant in road rage. If a breakdown occurs, pull over to the safest possible location or the far right side of the roadway. Activate all emergency signals and traffic control warning devices and call for help. When approaching a container pickup, observe the container condition and surrounding areas for potential hazards, fencing and gates around the containers, parked cars, building overhangs, and overhead tree limbs or power lines that will necessitate a more cautious approach. Plan your approach and be aware of potential hazards. If there is a need to open a gate, park your vehicle an adequate distance away to allow for gate swing. Be sure to set your parking brake before exiting the cab. And always use the 3 points of contact rule when dismounting and re-entering the cab. If the enclosure has a gate, make sure the gates are secure in the open position before attempting to back your truck up to the container. This prevents the gates from swinging closed during operation and damaging the truck, container, or enclosure. Approach the container with caution. Slowly maneuver the truck forward to insert forks in proper position. Lift slightly. And if needed, back the truck slowly while carrying container until clear of all overhead obstacles. Complete the dump process. Returning the container slowly to its designated position. Back away cautiously using mirrors and secure gate if needed. Before leaving the location, perform a quick walk-around inspection to ensure everything is in working order and there is no garbage on the shield. Roll-off pickup sites may have unique exposures as well, all the ones previously mentioned, plus construction traffic and equipment. Drivers should assess all obstacles before backing up to the container and plan the approach and lift. In order to pick up a container, the boom must be raised. Once the container has been loaded, the boom must always be lowered back into its cradle. Then, the driver should perform a visual inspection by walking around the truck to ensure that the boom is in the proper position. All open containers must be properly tarped. When picking up any commercial container, one should always be alert for potential hot loads, as smoldering debris could be inside the container. To avoid a serious truck fire, be alert for smoke and/or discoloration during pickup and while driving. If you should have a hot load, pack the load as tightly as possible to smother the fire. Call dispatcher or supervisor immediately. Find an empty parking lot or an open field in which to dump the load. If none is available, pull to the far right side of the road and dump the load. Once the load is dumped, pull the truck away and call dispatcher or supervisor again to report your actions. Call 911 at any time if you are in an emergency situation. Our trucks may be unloading at either a transfer station or landfill, and each have their own unique hazards. Transfer stations may have limited space containing a lot of activity. Always be aware of your surroundings when entering the transfer station, whether on the scales or tipping floor. Drivers of roll-off trucks should back into the transfer station before impending the tailgate. Maintain a minimum of 10 feet of space between trucks to allow for gate swing. When you are done unloading, make sure the seal is clean before pulling out. Equipment operators are to remain clear of the truck until after it has left the tipping floor. On the landfill, there are multiple activities occurring at the same time. In addition to significant truck traffic, there are various types of heavy equipment operating in conjunction with trucks dumping their loads. Drivers and equipment operators must always be aware of activity occurring around them. Only one person should be out of the truck at a time while the truck is on a landfill. Equipment operators should not be out of their equipment while operating on the landfill face. Remember, driving in the cities and suburbs present many increased risks. Exercise caution. You are responsible for the safe and effective operation of the vehicle. A complete pre-trip inspection must be performed before every shift, no exceptions. Always wear your seatbelt. Plan your container approach and be aware of potential hazards. Always be aware of your surroundings when entering the transfer station, whether on the scales or tipping floor. At landfills, drivers and equipment operators must always be aware of activity occurring around them. Have we covered every safety hazard you may face during the course of your job? Of course not. That's why it's so important for you to use your common sense and good judgment on every job, every day. If at any time you have questions about the safety of a particular job or workplace condition, please ask your supervisor. Don't take chances. The safety of you, your truck, and your customers is your responsibility. Take this responsibility seriously. There's a lot riding on your abilities as a driver.